So in 2020, a case study we've noticed is that employees had a lot of different work from home situations. Some employees are parents, some employees are breadwinners, some employees went back to the rural area. I live in a condominium, and I remember in 2020, almost every day, there was always one neighbor who was leaving. They were ending their contract in the condominium because they have their family in the province, and it didn't make sense to stay in the same room and be isolated when they're always been working from home and they can go back to the province for at least another year, right? Some people also lived in crowded, cramped spaces. What is diversity? Diversity as a leader is acknowledging, how can I create guidelines and how can I operate working styles and working rules that allows my people to be comfortable despite them having a different situation than mine. If you happen to be a leader who is single, then you're going to have a hard time understanding how it is to be a parent. Some parents, lunchtime is errands time. Most singles will think lunchtime is to watch Netflix. Lunchtime is to cook your food. Lunchtime for many parents is doing errands for household chores. It's setting up the online class and the laptop of their kids, for example. Another way to look at it for breadwinners, if you happen to be not a breadwinner, you'll have a hard time appreciating it. During the COVID-19, breadwinners struggled a lot with anxiety and stress. Why? They have to take good care of their family. If someone in the family contracts COVID-19, they have to do so many logistical and admin stuff. How do you isolate that family member? How do you get to hospital? How do you seek an ICU or a ventilator? Right? Breadwinners ultimately became responsible for that. That's why their mental health also were put at risk. Another example, if you live in the rural area, that employee may have less access to technology and also the internet, right? So which means if you're the type of company who's dependent on internet to get things done, what do you do to enable and empower that person despite the lack of access to technology? Or one more example, do you notice that when someone lives in a crowded home, they have a tendency to speak less in online meetings? Can I get a letter O as in online meetings if you notice that? I've noticed a pattern behind that. If this person lives with a family of 7 or 8, they usually do not turn on their mic. And I've tried to understand why. And I got an insight from one of my direct reports before. And she said, John, I'm so ashamed to turn on my mic because I know that in the middle of my conversation, you'll be hearing someone shouting, you'll be hearing someone crying. And that's because if you live in a crowded home, likely there is going to be background noise. If you happen to be a leader, how do you schedule a meeting? And how do you equip technology for your people to be confident that even if there is background noise, they will still be heard clearly, right? We have another webinar called Virtual Selling and Remote Customer Service. And we often tell our folks, there are technologies and free technologies available today that allows you to eliminate background noise. Zoom has that feature, and there are other apps that you can also download. My point is, when people are hesitant to contribute because of the difference of their living conditions, you have to adjust. You have to be a chameleon as a leader, finding ways to make the most out of them.